It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you, and welcome to the Science Bowl, the science quiz program here in the Prince George's Schools, where we test science IQs. Test your own and play along with us today. Let's meet today's teams. First, from Melwood Elementary School, would you please say hello to Felicia Wilson, Imani O'Neill, and Kayla Mitchner. At Rogers Heights, would you please welcome their team, Rebecca Adaduro, Jessica Jean-Pierre, and Nahom Mahari. And now here are the categories of questions we use on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
Here on the Science Bowl, we arrange our game board according to question difficulty. With the easier questions, they're on the left, worth 5 and 10 points. The tougher ones worth 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points. No penalties ever for incorrect answers. At the end of the 2 rounds today, one of these 2 talented, good-looking teams will come back to play our game again and perhaps advance to the semifinals in this year's elementary school competition. Let's make sure everything works properly before we start. Let's go to the red team. Imani, would you try your buzzer? Looks and sounds A-OK to me. Good luck to you, to Felicia, and to Kayla. And Jessica, how about the green team's buzzer? Try it. Good working order over there, too. Jessica, Nahom, and Rebecca, good luck to you as well. And just congratulations. Before we start, I know everyone's a little nervous. Everybody wants to win. You've already won. Your schools have decided you are great students, so just by being here, you should pat yourself on the back. We're proud of all of you. Let's have a good game. May the better team win. We go alphabetically M before R, so Melwood and Imani, let's start the ball. Go.
Body systems for 10.
Body systems for 10 points. Teams, your foot has an arch, your mouth has a roof, and this part of your body has a bridge. Yes, Imani?
Your backbone?
Not your backbone. Where in the body would you find a bridge, Jessica?
Your teeth?
Your nose. Your nose has a bridge. All right, let's try again. Red.
Zoo Parade for 10.
Zoo Parade for 10 points. Teams, very disturbing news recently that this tallest of all land animals may be threatened with extinction. Rogers Heights.
Giraffe?
Giraffe, absolutely right, yes. More species than we imagined, but many of them are disappearing because of habitat loss and poaching. Green, go.
Science Potpourri for 10.
Potpourri for 10 points is a visual question. Teams, look at the monitor in the studio if you would, please. These 2 giant screws on either side of that amusement park ride literally take water from down below and spin and take it back up to the top. Thousands of years old. Invented by which of the following 3 Greeks? Who invented this screw? Archimedes, Aristotle, or Agamemnon? Correct answer? This is Archimedes' screw. In fact, we have them throughout Prince George's County at pumping stations when some of our streams flood. Go green.
Let's get physical for 10.
Get physical for 10 points is a multiple choice question. Teams, seawater, ocean water, can get very cold and still not freeze. In fact, it can get as cold as 0 degrees, 15 degrees, or 28 degrees and not freeze. Imani.
15 degrees.
Not 15.
0 degrees?
The one neither of you chose, it can get as cold as 28 because normally it freezes at 32. Okay, no points. Try again, green.
Green things for 5.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, if you are a very successful gardener, if you can grow green things, you are said to have a green one of these. Rogers Heights?
Garden?
Not a garden, no. Melwood, you have a green what if you're a good gardener?
Thumb.
Thumb, that's right. Kayla says, say it, say it. I know it's right. She was right. A green thumb, and in England they call it a green finger. Okay, go red. Nicely done.
Dateline signs for 5.
Dateline signs for 5 points. Teams, the panda at the National Zoo Bebe recently had a blockage in its intestine because a piece of its favorite food got stuck there. Rogers Heights?
Bamboo.
Bamboo, that's right, indeed. Luckily, Bebe survived that and is doing nicely now. All right, 65 to 55 advantage. Rogers Heights, go.
Poopery for 15.
Potpourri for 15 points. Teams in the town of Vermilion, Ohio, they have an annual festival that celebrates the woolly bear. They even have races with woolly bears. Woolly bears are not real bears. They're what? What are they, Melwood? Melwood has rung in.
Animated.
What are they?
Animated.
Animated? No, no. Woolly bears are not real bears. What are they, Jessica?
Mammoths.
They're caterpillars. They're caterpillars. Those ones you see going across the sidewalk, they're orange and black, and you can tell how bad the winter is going to be according to folklore about how thick the black band is. Okay, they're the larval form of a moth. Try again, green.
Body systems for 5.
Body systems for 5 points. Teams, if you suffer from bruxism, that means you clench and grind these sometimes in your sleep. Melwood?
Teeth.
Your teeth, yeah. And sometimes you get like a retainer or a mouth guard to keep you from grinding down your enamel. All right, 60 to 65. Melwood, go.
Green things for 10.
Green things for 10 points. Teams, here's a joke. If a plant is sad, do the other plants photosympathize with it? Photosympathize sounds like what other word? Rogers Heights?
Photosynthesis.
That's right, photosynthesize or photosynthesis, absolutely. Okay, green.
Zoo parade for 5.
Zoo parade for 5 points. Teams, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch, so the song goes. So mean that your teeth must be made of wood because you've got these insects in your smile. Melwood?
Termites.
You got that right. Good. Termites it is. You listened carefully to all those clues. Go red.
Let's get physical for 5.
Let's get physical for 5 points. Teams, a multiple choice question. Which of the following gases would cause you to hold your nose? Carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, or methane?
Methane.
Methane is right. That's swamp gas. Yeah, that's what comes out the back of the cow, too. The buzzer says our first round is over. Melwood 65, Rogers Heights 80. Good game. We'll be back with round 2 in just a moment. Don't go away. And welcome back. So good to have you here on Science Bowl today in this, our 31st year on the air here in Prince George's County. Every year the students get better and better, and we're very lucky to have 6 outstanding young people playing our game today, all for the very first time. They're doing a beautiful job. Let's go to Melwood. And Amani, let's find out about your school. Where is Melwood?
In Upper Marlboro.
Upper Marlboro, absolutely right. And who's your principal?
Mr. Dalton.
Out there rooting for you. And sponsor of your team?
Miss Rivera.
Miss Rivera, and she is here today, and I know she stepped in for Miss Sims, and we appreciate all that you are doing because it's important that you prepare you guys for your presence here. Now, you have an alternate team out there. You've got a shadow team, don't you? Mm-hmm. What are their first names?
Brandy, Caitlin, and Andrew.
And we'll bring them out in just a few moments to join all of you. And you're wearing red, that's your school color, and you all look great here today. Tell me what you do in your spare time, Imani.
Well, in my spare time, I swim.
You swim, yeah. We were talking about that earlier, and you swim down at Allentown Pool down there in the southern part of the county. What do you want to do when you get older?
Well, I want to be a chef when I get older.
Yeah, we were talking about that, yeah. And one of your specialties is eggs, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. I bet you'd be a good one. You're a good captain, too. Before I leave you, tell me about Melwood. What is it that you brag about when you tell people that you go to Melwood?
We're the first IB school in Prince George's.
First IB, International Baccalaureate. Yeah. That's wonderful. And that is a curriculum, as the name says, is taken by students around the world. So you're part of some good company. Thanks for sharing that. Felicia, nice to have you here today. Tell us the Felicia story. What do you do in your spare time?
I like to draw, paint, and I sing.
And you sing because you're in the chorus, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And tell me what you see yourself doing someday.
Well, I want to be a painter.
A painter?
And I want to study bugs. And
bugs, yeah. And an entomologist. Yeah, sometimes we have a judge who works with the Department of Agriculture here on mosquito control. She's an entomologist. And you don't collect bugs, do you?
No.
No. And that used to be something that was done in the past. You know, you'd put a pin through butterflies and look at them. Now it's better just to observe them and, take videos of them. Nice to have you with us. Kayla, tell us about yourself. How do you know so much science? Because you do.
I study with my mother, and I also like to compete with some of my friends to practice.
Always challenge yourself, and obviously you've been doing that. What do you do in your spare time?
I like to do crafts, sing, and dance.
Wonderful. And this young lady is already worried about our country. She's a patriot because you're interested in cybersecurity, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes. And what motivated you?
Well, my mother, because she's an IT specialist.
Absolutely. I'm sure your mom's very proud of you, and you're going to follow in her footsteps. Nice to have you here, too. Rogers Heights, you guys started out really strong. You're in the lead there. Jessica, you guys must have practiced because it's showing here. Tell me about your school. Rogers Heights is where?
In Bladensburg.
In Bladensburg, yes, up there on the hill. I know it well. It's next to, what's the school right next to you?
Port Towns.
Port Towns, absolutely right. And who's your principal?
Miss Bottoms.
Yes, indeed. Miss Bottoms. And Miss Brown, I know, is your sponsor. And Patricia, thank you for all the years you've been doing this. You always send us some wonderful young people here, and great educator. We're lucky to have you. And tell me about Rogers Heights. What's the best thing about Rogers Heights?
The teachers there, they're really nice, and they help us learn, and we also do a bunch of experiments and hand-on activities to help us.
If teachers aren't nice, why bother? Why go, right? You need somebody there who's going to make learning fun and is your advocate and someone you feel you can go to with just about any problem. That's very nice of you to say. What do you want to do someday, Jessica?
I also want to be a chef.
Yeah. And nobody brought us any food today. You're telling me about all this stuff, and I'm tasting this. Of course, being a chef is a lot of science. You have to know chemistry and physics and all kinds of things there. Tell me about any alternates on your team, Jessica.
We have Barbara as an alternate.
Wonderful. Have the alternate come out in just a few moments here. Nahum, nice to have you with us today. Young man who wants to be an astronomer and tells me he does not have a telescope. So Santa, if you are listening, even if it's past Christmas when you're watching this, telescope for Nahum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. How'd you get interested in astronomy?
Because as a child, I've always been interested in space. I always wanted to go to space.
Yeah. If you have the opportunity, would you like to go to the International Space Station or to Mars? Because it looks like the colonization of Mars is the next big thing on the horizon there. But it's a long time away from home, But if you really love it, I know you're probably going to want to step up. Rebecca, nice to have you here today. Tell me about the violin. You play the violin, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, and you've done that since what grade?
I've been playing the violin since 4th grade.
Wow. And is there an orchestra or a band at Rogers Heights?
Yes.
Wonderful, and I'm sure you're part of that. Do you see yourself as a professional musician someday?
I do. I see myself in college playing being a professional violinist.
Yeah, just stay with it, and it's all that practice. The old joke, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. Yeah, that's the direction. What do you do in your spare time if you're not playing the violin?
I like to read books.
What kind of books do you like?
I like chapter books, I guess. It's just that they give this many details in describing so you can imagine it in your head.
And books are wonderful. They just take you places where you wouldn't go otherwise. And if you get a good book, you almost hate to have it finished because you want to keep going. Speaking about going, let's get back to the game. 65 for Melwood, 80 for Rogers Heights. Last correct answer came from the green team. So Jessica, lots of points to give away yet. Let's go.
Dateline Science for 10.
Dateline Science for 10 points. Teams, recently someone bid at an auction. They paid $64,000 for the key to this scientist's lab, and for $64,000, they got some of his light bulbs as well. Rogers Heights.
Thomas Edison.
You got that right. Thomas Edison's lab up there in New Jersey, and the incandescent light bulb. Nicely done. Go green. Let's turn that light out over there. Go.
Science potpourri for 5.
Science potpourri for 5 points. Teams, before the bald eagle became our national bird, Benjamin Franklin was pushing for this bird to be the national bird. Yes, Jessica?
Turkey.
The turkey, yeah, which we eat. You would never want to eat the national bird. Well, maybe you would. Go green.
Green things for 15.
Green things for 15 points. Teams, you've all heard of pH. If you want to make your own pH paper in your science class, just take a coffee filter, cut it out, and dip it into the juice of this green vegetable that comes in a head and is famously associated with the patch where babies are supposed to come from, Jessica.
Cabbage.
The cabbage patch, yeah. Red cabbage juice is a natural indicator for acids and bases. Well done. All right, Rogers Heights.
Body systems for 15.
For 15 points in body systems. Teams, there are no sharp edges on the scapula bone, but it is still called the shoulder what? Melwood.
Blade.
Blade, that's right. Boy, you were right on that one. Go red.
Zoo parade for 15.
Zoo parade for 15 points. Teams, if you've ever read Alice in Wonderland, you know that this dumpy bird is one of the characters, the bird that is the face of extinction. Melwood.
Crow.
Not a crow. This dumpy looking bird in Alice in Wonderland is the very picture of extinction.
An owl.
The dodo bird, the dodo bird. Oh, go again, red. 80 points, 30 back.
Let's get physical for 15.
For 15 points, teams, a multiple choice question. A lot of you know that if you take your cell phone, you can check it every once in a while to see how far you've walked that day, how many steps you've taken, the mileage that you've accumulated. That's because your phone contains an altimeter, a barometer, or an accelerometer. Melwood. That's a tough word to say. I can hear you mumbling over there. Nicely. It's the accelerometer. Kayla, thank you for your assist on that. Go red.
Dateline science for 15.
Dateline for 15 points. Teams, recently scientists found a 17th century mummy in South America, and the DNA showed that that mummy had this disease, the only disease that we have completely wiped off the face of the earth. Do you know the name of that disease? Correct answer is smallpox. Smallpox. That's why you don't need to get vaccinated anymore for it. Go again, red.
Green things for 20.
Green things for 20 points. Teams, we know that there are coniferous trees like pines and firs. That's where you get softwood, like to make paper. But it's these kinds of trees, the opposite of the conifers, that are like oaks and maples, where you get hardwood. What trees are the opposite of the coniferous trees? Melwood.
Redwood?
Not redwoods, no. Rogers Heights. Whenever one team rings in, the other team should already start discussing what their answer should be or might be if I have to come to you. Opposite of coniferous trees. Hardwood trees like maples and oaks are the deciduous trees, the ones that shed their leaves every year. Go red.
Zoo parade for 20.
Zoo parade for 20 points. Teams, there are no snakes that are vegetarians. They all eat meat. There's one exception. There's one kind of snake that is carnivorous, but it doesn't eat meat. You might call it an ovo-carnivore because it eats these. Ovo is your clue. Eggs. They eat eggs. Go, red.
Body systems for 20.
Body systems for 20 points. Teams, the name of these smallest blood vessels means thin hairs because they are, in fact, the thinnest and smallest of the blood vessels in your body. What do we call them? Smallest blood vessels.
What do you think?
Melwood.
Veins.
Not veins. Veins is a good guess. Rogers Heights.
White blood cells?
No, capillaries. Capillaries, the really tiny ones. Those are the ones that are in your nose that can break if you get a bloody nose. They're close to the surface. Go again, red, 95 to 110, still a close game.
Let's get physical for 20.
Get physical for 20 points. Teams, if you take a graduated cylinder and you pour in motor oil, and then you put in honey, and then you put in dishwashing liquid, it'll form different layers because they don't mix. They don't mix because they have what? Difference. Yes, Melwood.
Density?
Density. They are different densities. Yeah, the different masses per unit volume. Good. Red. 5-point lead, 115 to 110. Melwood. Go ahead.
Science potpourri for 20.
Potpourri for 20 points. Teams, what same word describes birds like hawks and eagles and dinosaurs in Jurassic World? What kind of predatory dinosaurs, Melwood?
Scavengers?
Not scavengers, Rogers Heights. What kind of what name is given to the predatory dinosaurs in Jurassic Park? It's the same word that is given to predatory birds like eagles and hawks.
Vultures?
Raptors. Raptors like velociraptors. Go red. Go ahead.
25 for green things.
25 for green things. Team, some of the important trees in our country, like oaks and fir trees, are being attacked by insects that are weakening the tree's defenses because they're eating all of this R-initial kind of sap that hardens into amber that protects the trees. What is that R-initial kind of sap? Melwood.
What?
What you got?
Termites?
No, it has to start with an R. Rogers Heights, what you got? Resin. Resin is the right answer. Go again, red.
Body systems for 25.
Body systems for 25 points. All right, teams, your question is as follows. The cavity in your body that's formed by your hip bones and the back of your backbone, this whole area in here is known as what kind of girdle? What kind of girdle is that called, Jessica?
The pelvis?
You got that right. That's the pelvic girdle. Yes, ma'am. Nicely done. Go green.
Zoo parade for 25.
Zoo parade for 25 points. Teams is a multiple choice question. Teams, in the animal world, monogamy is rare. Most animals are bigamists. Many of them are polygamous, meaning they have more than what?
One spouse?
Yeah, they have more than one spouse. Yeah, they fool around a lot, indeed. Lots of different mates. Good. Nicely done. Green.
Science potpourri for 25.
Potpourri for 25 points. Teams, in England, these places are called chemists. In the medieval days, they were called apothecaries. If you want to grow up and deal drugs legally, you would go to this place. Rogers Heights.
A pharmacy?
Absolutely. You go to the pharmacy and you would study pharmacy, pharmaceuticals. Good. Thank you, Nahom, for your assist. Go green.
Let's get physical for 25.
For 25, the big one in that category. Teams, recently a group called the IAU formally named 227 stars. For the first time, they gave them official names. The IAU stands for the International Something Union. That A term refers to the science of studying the heavens. Rogers Heights.
Astronomical?
You got that right. The International Astronomical Union. And I know, Nahom, you knew that one. Yeah, you're our future astronomer over there. Go green.
Dateline science for 20.
Dateline science for 20 points. Teams, if there is an oil spill anywhere that occurs in this country, you pick up the phone and you call the EPA. What is the EPA? Who are they? That's the Environmental Protection Agency. Try again. Go. I won't get to that last question, but it looked like for the past couple of minutes, Rogers Heights would do it, and they have. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed this game at home as much as we did here in the studio. Our final tally today is Melwood 115, Rogers Heights 210. Congratulations, Rebecca and Jessica and Nahom and their sponsors back there, Mr. Pitt, Miss Brown, and their very happy alternate, Miss Barbara. Let's give them a hand. Nice job. And a hand from Melwood, Felicia and Amani and Kayla. Andrew and Caitlin, their alternates back there, Mr. Lanahan and Miss Rivera. You guys did wonderfully. We're so happy to have you here today, and we were happy to have you as well. We'll see you next time right here on the Science Bowl. I'm Dave Zarin, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.